Welcome to Fort Raymond Goal. We're throwing a change up and we're drinking brewskis and talking college football. So grab a glass, maybe pour a pint, put the game on mute, and take a listen.
Let's do this.
Welcome to Fort Raymond Goal. Today we're going to get into the college football playoffs. We're going to be drinking some beer that we've been waiting a while to get our hands on, or as the young folks would say, a hot minute. Actually, I think it's the old folks now. But before we talk about all that fun stuff and get into how our holiday weekend went, Monday, whatever, Dick, hit him with the socials, please.
All right. So, Kurt, thanks for that setup there. Drammers, it's always important to remember to follow us on all the social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Well, I don't know if you can follow us on Twitter. Elon might get rid of us now. We'll see about that. But that being said, make sure you're subscribing to us on all your favorite platforms.
Editing in the comment section right now of Twitter.
Fake news will be back on Twitter. That being said, thanks for the interruption there, Kurt. Make sure you're subscribing to us on all your favorite podcast streaming services, Audible, Castbox, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. You can also catch us on YouTube, so make sure you hit the subscribe button there. I think we have a whole 8 subscribers on YouTube right now. But if you like to, visually see the little sound bars go up and down as you listen to a podcast, that's one way to do it.
You have 8?
I think I'm overinflating this. I think that's, I have all these people at my rally kind of numbers. So, yeah. I don't know if that was a little too political for you Stros fans out there.
It could be, but before we get more political, did I cut you off again?
You did, but fuck it. Keep going.
Okay, I'm gonna take a shot. Sorry, I just have to. I know we're doing beers, but I mean, if I go a whole show without taking a shot of some kind of whiskey, that's like going a whole show without giving my quote. Like, it just doesn't feel right,
Yeah, spoken like a true alcoholic. I had this conversation while you do that. I had this conversation with my wife last night about, I don't drink necessarily because I like to. I just think it makes me a better person. And that's where she's like, yeah, that's something an alcoholic would say.
I think drinking makes you a better person too. I think you're more tolerable. I think I enjoy you more. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that was her second sentence.
Oh. That was Buffalo Chip, that whiskey I sent you. I will wait to review that at our next episode.
Wait, are you expecting me to pick up something that says Buffalo Chip, like chocolate chip?
I just hope Buffalo Chips doesn't mean like shit. I mean, if
I thought it was more like pies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Buffalo pies?
Like cow pies?
No, give the buffalo more respect than that. Halloween.
Buffalo bagels? Well, I didn't finish the socials yet.
Visit us at our website on Fort Dram and Goal. You can also email and reach us out at fortdramandgoal@gmail.com. And follow us at our social media, Instagram at Fort Dram. How did I do?
Look at you, dude. You did it better than I do usually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Cheers.
Well, there you go.
Chin chin.
So back to Halloween. How was it?
Super not spooky. But I did almost kill a bottle of the Smoke Wagon Uncut the Younger. So that was a fun 114 proof little baby boy right there. Layover from our last whiskey club we had here. So yeah, I mean, that was fun. Got to pass out candy at my friend's house. Wife and the friend's wife took the kids trick-or-treating, which tends to be like a thing. Do you take the kids trick-or-treating and then pass it out, or do one of y'all take them and then the other one passes it out?
No. So the last couple of years, especially now that the little one is there, we do quick tour, maybe 2-3 blocks, get their buckets
there early,
head on back, set up our table and our little thing, and we all sit there and hand out candy. So
nice.
We did that.
Yeah, that's the way we used to do it. And then it seems like as the kids have gotten older, we tend to congregate at someone's house, and the guys stay behind, drink, and hand out candy while the wives take the kids trick-or-treating, which my wife has expressed to me is not her favorite approach. But for some reason, I'm not part of the planning, and that's the way it works out. So,
Well, it's because they think she's a lot cooler than you.
well, I mean, let's also be honest. I've never been invited trick or treating. My kids have. So I don't know that anybody thinks that I'm that cool. So,
Yeah, it's getting depressing now.
hence the alcohol.
So do y'all do the family? Did you dress up?
So we did dress up.
Do y'all do the crew? Is everything like a theme, or is everyone separate? Or
no, we've done the theme a couple times. My wife and I did not dress up for Halloween Day, but we did go to a club here in San Antonio on Saturday night. Got there about 9, closed it down about 2:30. We did the matching or the couples Wanda and Vision costumes from WandaVision.
Why did I not get pictures of this?
Oh, I have them, but
I want them.
Some of them are highly inappropriate. So I'll send you the ones prior to the getting smashed at the bottom. So, yeah.
Did you paint your face purple?
It's red. And no, I did not paint my face red because my face already has a natural, beautiful red complexion.
Never mind. I don't want them. You're just going to end up looking like, I don't know, Billy Zane in the Phantom from the 90s movie. Yeah, no. So the littlest one picked a costume and then was terrified of it, so he wouldn't wear it.
What was it?
It was Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ooh, yeah.
He picked it like I would put it next to Batman, Iron Man, went through the whole store, and that was the final one he picked, and then nope, wanted nothing to do with it when he got back. The older one was a skeleton, one of those like skin tight suits. I put on an Altuve Corpus Christi Hooks jersey. That's been my go-to. And the wife wore a ball cap. So yeah, we were not in the.
Did the older one look like he was going to jump some kid at the local Halloween party?
I was so proud of him for that. I kept saying, "Put him in a body bag, Johnny." Of course, he had no idea what
number
I was
one.
talking about. And by the third house that I said that, they were calling the cops on me. So, yeah, Halloween was good. We're getting a little sentimental. We're getting some hubby points this week, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Thanks to you.
For those of you listening, if you want to save your marriage, if you want to just enjoy something delightful, you've probably seen the TikToks by now. Yeah. Watch From Scratch on Netflix. You will have no emotions left, but yet you will be happy at the same time.
Yeah. My wife, we're 3 episodes in. My wife looked at me. And I looked at her. I was like, I'm not crying. You're crying.
I will leave you. It's a thing. Watch it. Check it out. The food, I'm a big with foodie movies and scenes, and, movie Burnt with Bradley Cooper is like one of my underrated favorites just because of, he's a chef. So whenever you give me some good food porn, there's a chance that I'm going to like it. This one did not have a lot of it, but enough.
Some other porn.
That too. But enough to interest me in getting in the kitchen this weekend and spark a fire, maybe do some pasta. But yeah, it's not manly, but it sure won't make you feel manly after watching it.
It kind of reminded me of like Master of None kind of mixed with The Notebook. That's how I would describe it so far.
P.S. I Love You was a roller coaster. This is the theme park. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know if I could say it any better.
I'll give you that, but with Italian food.
Yeah. Now we got to talk about Goodfellas or something to make ourselves sound manly.
He's from Sicily, so.
Sicilia. I've been walking around all week. Mi amore.
You didn't hear me earlier. I said chin chin.
Oh, I didn't. But like in the the mornings are rough. There's a lot of yelling back and forth, getting the kids ready, getting the breakfast out the door. So all week I've tried to like combat that with, but mi amore, I love you. It worked like the first 2 times. It's not working anymore. So anyway, we are changing it up tonight. I have just opened up my probably 8th bottle in the last 4 days.
You better hit that Peloton based off these calorie numbers. Jesus.
Yes. We waited a while for this. That's why this was the perfect one to change it up. Do a beer review tonight.
Yeah, man. I've been waiting like
Yinglings,
3 years for this fucking beer.
Yinglings Hershey's chocolate porter. Yinglings came to Texas about a year ago.
2 years ago.
It was always a favorite of mine when I would travel to the East Coast. So I was super pumped when we got that. It is slowly taking over I buy it more often than I do Coors Light. I'm not gonna lie. But this one we just didn't have, and all of a sudden, a couple of weeks ago, there it was, all over the shelves at HEB.
Boom.
Texted you. You were like, motherfucker. And then I guess it showed up in the last week there in San Antonio.
Yeah, finally. Yeah.
So yeah, Yuenglings, which is a Pennsylvania company, they go off of the whole America's oldest brewery thing since 1829. Well, they partner with Hershey's Chocolate, another Philadelphia staple, and this bad boy is 4.7 alcohol by volume, and as Dick said, it is a hefty girl at 185 calories.
That's for the 6-pack though, right?
It's a thick. No, this is each one. Not going down well with the tiramisu that I devoured a couple, about an hour and a half ago. Any thoughts? Any excitement? I had an iced chilled pint glass. As we were doing our editing, it turned into a nice wet, cold pint glass. But yeah, that's how we do things around here.
Yeah, man. Like you said, this one is something I've been waiting for a while to get here to Texas. Finally got Yuengling, last year before, whatever it was. But the big thing for me was like their little stupid map that they put on Twitter. I'm like, we're going to Texas. Here's a link to see when it's near in a store near to you. It's like, oh, you got Yuengling and you got the light one. And I was like, cool. I don't really care. I was like, when's the Hershey Porter here? Last winter, I was going to fucking every liquor store, every HEB here in town. Could not find it for the life of me. Beside the fact that their freaking website said it was here, it was not here. Even up to Dallas wasn't there. So needless to say, I'm finally excited that this bottle has rolled its ass all the way down from Pennsylvania, finally got to us. I was a little bit jealous for like a week and a half that you had it before I did. But, tomatoes, potatoes, it's here now. It's all good.
Wait. So let's clarify this and clear this up. Are you not a fan of like regular Yuengling?
Oh, no, I like regular Yuengling.
Okay, I was like, that's what I have. You've come over, and I've had that for you.
Yeah, no, I like.
So it just,
it's the light. It's the light. I'm like, meh. Well, any light beer, I'm like, just give me Coors Light.
Exactly, my man. All right, so let's get into that second dram.
All right, so headlines. So as we're talking right now, the Astros and the Phillies are playing Game 4. So cross your fingers, it goes 2-2, and we get a fresh new series here going back to Houston, I think, next game. Astros are up 5-0 after that ass kicking they got last night. Dude, the playoffs have actually been watchable for me this season.
Not for me last week. As we know, I am a Yankees fan.
Oh, that was fun for me. I found that very entertaining. Like, they didn't get just beat. They got stomped.
Which I had texted when they were struggling with the Guardians, and that one went 5. I texted like, this is literally a game to see who's going to go get swept by the Astros. Deep down in my heart, I was hoping for a miracle. I was hoping for competitive, but that team before the All-Star break just wasn't around anymore, and there was no signs of that changing. So it was a cute thing. I posted a picture of me and my Yankees, the family. When we first moved here, I kind of had a little bit still with them. The young ones like the Yankees, but now that's completely changed. They are full H-Town, hold it down, Astros. I think the boys get to school and they see everyone else doing it, but I'm happy for them. They don't have to go through life with misery as I did. And yeah, so we're enjoying it. We cooked some brats for the first one. Heck of a game.
I'll just never understand that about you, why you're not like a Giants or Jets fan or something. I know you have like Jets shirts and stuff, but I mean, you're so diehard Yankees and Knicks, but you didn't want to pick up like a good franchise from New York?
So each story has its path. The Yankees family was East Coast. The Knicks Allen Houston was my favorite player growing up. Why? I have no idea. And then, yeah, when Dan Marino retired, I was a lost soul and had to attach to a team, and that was the one I decided to.
Yeah.
The
And then
Houston Texans.
in our, late childhood, early teen years, the Texans were formed. So I guess it makes sense. I tell you that my daughter has a teacher named David Carr.
You did. Your joke was to send me a snapshot of her schedule or whatever it was with his name. And you said, apparently, what did you say? You said, apparently my daughter's being taught by a former number 1 draft pick that was ass and got set. Something to that extent.
Yeah. I told her to ask him if he has any residual injuries from his days with the Texans. That apparently some kid beat her to it. And he's like, I'm not that David Carr.
Okay, so maybe you didn't put what I put. Maybe I was just coming up with my own inner thoughts. But yeah, World Series is rocking and rolling. It's always cool here in Houston when the Astros are winning, and if they win, I'll be happy for my family and my city.
Let's talk about the number 1 Astros fan.
Dude, so if the Astros go on to come back from this 2-1 deficit,
are we getting free mattresses?
I don't know, but somebody was about to get these free hands from Mattress Mac last night in Philadelphia. That video went viral today. I guess Mattress Mac was walking out, and then all of a sudden, the man who has a key to the city, who opened his doors to Hurricane Harvey and can do no wrong, is all of a sudden swearing like a sailor. F you fans, F you, and getting held back. And then he actually did some interviews today and said, basically, they were talking shit about the Astros. And if you haven't seen the video, check it out. He's become a bigger hero. He said that they were telling him to take his jersey off to see the wires, which that's funny. And it takes balls to say that to somebody like Mattress Mac, whether they knew that or he was who he was,
I'm going to venture to say they had no idea who he was.
Maybe. And then he said the one that crossed the line was the guy who said Altuve will never go to the Hall of Fame because he's a cheater, and that just made him snap. There have been some memes today. There have some, Mattress Mac is an OG with a bandana on and a gold chain. Like it did nothing but build his legend even more if that was possible.
Yeah, no, that's great. I just wonder which Astro fan got it worse from the Northeasterners. Was it Mattress Mac or was it Ted Cruz?
There's no comparison there. There's no
because Ted Cruz is hated here and there.
Yes, like that's not even. Yeah, that's not.
Those were that made me funny. Like everybody's like "fuck you," and he's just like.
Yeah, I know he's won several elections, but I've yet to see. You will run into people all the time who told you they voted for Biden, who told you they voted for Trump. Okay, maybe not so much Biden here in Texas, but I've seen them. They do exist. But I have never
met anybody said they voted for Cruz.
Never. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, once again, this isn't a political show as we enjoy this beverage from the East Coast of Pennsylvania.
There you go. Keeping it on the East Coast, just rolling to the next topic. Nash, just gone.
Yeah, and Steve Nash was fired. And apparently KD today said he was shocked by the news. Like it was not him and Kyrie who were like, hey, he gone. And then the suspended Celtics head coach, who, if we don't remember, was fired for apparently having a not so good relationship, as he had an affair or something with like his wife is Nia Long, if you don't remember, the actress. Yeah, so he's like in the final stages of being hired. He's like Cliff Kingsbury. He got this suspended promotion. I don't know. So interesting.
Suspended with pay.
Yeah.
I saw something, and it was Steve Kerr made a comment that either him or another coach, I can't remember who it was, like they could not have been more successful than Nash was in that same position. And then I read something else. It was like Jalen Ramsey said something like the Nets are the most hated franchise and will continue to be the most hated franchise in basketball. I What are your thoughts?
I agree with Kerr if he said that, because here's the thing. There are those coaches who go into situations and you know that they're still controlling things. Pop can probably get a free agent in San Antonio like KD or a free agent like LeBron. And you know that at the end of the day, he's still the one that's probably controlling things.
Yeah.
And as I'm trying to think, maybe Jackson at the time, but even then, I'm not so sure because he had Jordan and, he had Kobe. There are those that, that they may get the last call. There wasn't going to be a coach that they could bring into Brooklyn that was going to be that guy, because it was going to be the KD and Kyrie show no matter what. And it still is, obviously. So I agree with what he's saying. Nobody's going in there. Has Steve Kerr built up the reputation now that he can go in there? Maybe. Would Doc Rivers be the guy that makes the final call? Maybe, but it sure as hell wasn't going to be Steve Nash to put KD and Kyrie in check.
Yeah,
so
not
yeah,
his first,
I understand
his
what
first
they're
coaching
saying.
job.
I do think Udoka goes in there and has a little bit more pull because he had that success last year, took the Celtics to the final, and has a little bit proven
and he's kind of
reputation.
He's kind of a G too.
He is. I mean, he was married to Nia Long, and then look what he did to her. Breaking princesses' hearts around here. But I still don't. It's still at the end of the day, I think it's going to be the KD and Kyrie show. But if it continues to be the way it is, unless he turns things around and this is just the crew to do it, they'll both be gone at the end of the year. And then it's kind of like, did you want to waste that? Did you want to leave that suspended year? Maybe there was just bad blood and that wasn't going to be repaired.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Staying in the NBA, the Lakers suck.
They just won a game bad. Finally. They're 1-5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what LeBron and them were thinking. We'll be 1-6 and everything's going to be just fantastic. Does it matter? Does it hurt LeBron's thing? Like
does it hurt Michael Jordan's reputation for like his career that he wouldn't play for the Wizards and blew ass for 2 years? No.
I don't think I've ever been more proud with a point that you proved. That was beautiful.
Thanks, man. Been working on it.
Feel like the Cajun from Old School when he's like, that was perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. Do you think he should get traded to get out of that situation?
No, he said like this is his last year, right? He's retiring, isn't he?
I don't think so. I think he's waiting for his kid, honestly.
I
think he's literally set up his career to go wherever his kid goes.
No. I mean, dude, write it out. Take the money. I mean, what's it gonna hurt? He's so emotionally invested though. I don't think he can like just check out,
Last in headlines, Calvin Ridley was traded to the team that he bet on. Is that
we moved to the
funny?
NFL, right?
Like he got traded to the Jaguars and they're like, hey man, thanks for betting on us. So can you go catch some passes from our quarterback who we don't know is going to be good?
No, I think it's good. I mean, it makes Ridley, honestly, it makes him more of a viable fantasy threat for everybody. I mean, Mariota.
He won't be playing this year.
Oh, he's not?
No, I think he's still suspended for the year.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So next year, maybe? Yeah. But he's also like 34, isn't he?
Calvin Ridley?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I tell you what, my producer will look into that while I begin our segment on the nose of what's in our glass. And I stepped up our game so much, I have brought our beer snifter sampling glass that we were given on our Denver micro brew tour. Anyway, insert.
Like I said, Calvin Ridley is 27. That's what I said earlier.
So. Yeah. 27, the new 34. In that case, I am 27, baby.
Whoop. Chocolate metallic.
Save the metallic for the taste.
No, it smells like that.
I'm getting Hershey's chocolate.
It's bitter chocolate.
I'm getting Yuengling beer.
Are you really getting Yuengling beer?
Yeah. Okay, so when you dig towards the bottom of your Halloween bucket after 6 months
Yeah.
and you find that Hershey's Kiss that melted and then got squished and then it hardened again.
I wouldn't say it was a kiss. I would say it was one of those little bars, but I know where you're going.
It's okay. So I'm going Kiss. And you take it out and you're like, you know what? I'm still gonna eat this because I just want a little snack right now. I don't need 2 Kit Kats or a whole Twix. Still Kiss. That's what this smells like, and that's what I'm getting, and I'm sticking to it.
That's what I was telling my wife too. I just need a little kiss. That's how it always starts.
Okay. Keep your problems in the bedroom to yourself. As for beer, it's like, do you do a whole new rating? Do you just go with what's in your heart?
So, dude, it smells like chocolate. Like, it smells amazing. This is like A+ nose. Like, could beer smell better than this? No.
That we will talk about in the fourth round. It can smell better just because of my taste in beer, but I'm going to go A-.
If every beer smelled like this, I'd be happy.
I get a feeling I know you're going to lean towards the dark side when it comes to our beer segment.
Dude, I'm a lot like Vader, man. Always leaning toward the dark side.
Third pint.
So if this is the third pint, we're going to be real fucked up by the time we're done. But
well,
that being said,
2 pints.
Well, I've had 3 beers and a nap. So it's been a good night. I always do this thing where I have a beer, we have dinner, and then I for 20 minutes, 30 minutes while the news is on, I take a fucking power nap. Dude, it's so nice. After you get the dishes done, sit down on the couch, power nap, dude. It's my tradition.
I hate you. Third dram.
Let's do it.
We've got college football and NFL football. We will start with hot off the presses yesterday. They're out. What is it? Week 7, week 8? College football rankings were released. We've got the number 1 Tennessee Volunteers. Number 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 3, the Georgia Bulldogs, your returning national champs. Number 4, Clemson. I often forget about you. Tigers. Number 5, Michigan. Are we anything until we play Ohio State Wolverines? And 6, what am I doing all the way back here in the back? Alabama. Dick, did they get this right? Do we have any surprises?
I don't think the Tennessee should be number 1 yet. Let them beat Georgia first. I mean, we'll get to that, but that's my biggest surprise. Alabama, it makes sense. I mean, they're the one loss team here, so that makes sense. The other thing I have a question about is what exactly did Tennessee volunteer for?
Davy Crockett to go to the Alamo?
It was one guy, and he wasn't from Knoxville.
A pretty important guy.
He was not from Knoxville.
He's a pretty important guy.
Okay, so we're going to say one guy volunteered, and then we're going to name an entire school the Volunteers.
I don't know what they're called that for, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it because, God dang it, the Alamo, anytime you can talk about it, that's important. Come and take it. Don't tread on me. Do those sayings correlate?
Yeah, they're one and the same.
Yeah.
So Don't Tread on Me comes back to the 1776 when every, it was the whole separate or die kind of thing, right? The 13 colonies, it was a snake all cut up in different pieces.
So number 2,
Come and Take It comes from the Battle of Gonzales.
There we go. Yeah. That's the history major.
They had one cannon.
There you go. So I'm not surprised. And to your point, they literally fuck it. We'll put Tennessee number 1 this week. We could either be proven right or they lose to number 3. What's the problem?
Isn't this the first time in college football playoff history that they've been ranked even in the top 4 and they ranked them number 1?
I don't think that matters either. I actually like the diversity. Like I said, I think that's what they were leaning towards because if you look at AP and coaches poll, I think they're two. Actually, I think they're tied with Ohio
Yeah.
State for two.
Yeah, because if that's anything Tennessee's known for, it's diversity.
I'm not going to go there. But, to think about it, that would be a nice little Nashville. Is that a family destination? Have you been?
My wife has been. It's Knoxville, not Nashville.
Well, there's two different ones. There's Nashville, where there's the Country Music Hall of Fame, and then there's Knoxville, where the University of Tennessee is.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Why would you want to do a family destination in Knoxville?
I don't. I want to go to Nashville. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, yeah. My wife went to Nashville. She said it sucks.
Oh.
She said their bar scene was like a dirtier, stickier 6th Street.
So when I say family destination, I'm not taking the 9-year-old and the 3-year-old into Daisy Dukes or Luke Bryan's bar. I'm taking it like, are there family spots?
Is that a baby in a bar? Come on, man. It's the South. You can do that.
I love that movie.
I don't know,
surprised.
Man. I haven't taken the family to Nashville, so I couldn't answer that question.
Okay, that would have been helpful from the beginning. Not gonna lie, not surprised here. I think they work out. I think it's still very early. We'll find out a lot this weekend when we see Tennessee versus Georgia. Clemson, it just goes back to like who's in the ACC. Are they just going to float around? Michigan, same thing. I don't know if OSU's really proven anything until that fourth quarter against Penn State. And then Alabama, it took a record amount of flags in the history of Alabama, or maybe it was just Nick Saban era, for them to lose to Tennessee. So I don't know. Everything will work out. No surprises that make me go ooh and ah.
I want to play this out though. My question to you is: if Tennessee wins it all, I'm getting ahead of ourselves. If Tennessee wins it all, how many babies next year are going to be named Hooker?
You have a good point there, buddy, because there was a large amount of babies named Peyton when he was doing his thing. I don't know, and I'm uncomfortable answering that question. So I'm going to move forward. Predictions going forward. Do these... Well, you know what? Let's just go with two things first. First off, Tennessee's new all-black uniforms, fire or not fire?
Very nice.
Very nice. Somebody said they look like candy corn, and I kind of but other than that, like those were legit.
But the options they have are either that, which that orange is always an accent color, should never be a primary color, or they're fucking creamsicle uniforms. Like, I don't want to look at that either.
I've always thought that Tennessee had cool atmosphere. We talked about this during the Bama game with the Vol Navy. That stadium, when it's packed, is up there with the best in the country. And I've often said maybe they're the real UT. And then I'm quite terrified because in a couple years, you're going to have creamsicle orange against burnt orange. What are you going to do? Because that's going to be ugly.
It's going to be ugly on multiple levels. I think you can only have them play on Halloween because then it'll be funny. It's going to be the most god-awful, atrocious thing you've ever seen in your life. That was going to be a question I have for you. Which orange is uglier?
Oh, burnt orange by far.
There is only one UT, like to answer your question. University of Tennessee is the only UT. The other one is TU. So let's just be clear about that. And I do agree with you that burnt orange is way
hate. No. And like I said, there's those. I have my love team. That is Tech. I have my favorites. Okay. The Notre Dames of football. And then I have those post-secondary kind of teams that I root for. And Tennessee's always been in that for football. Kind of like, DePaul in college basketball for me. I don't mind their orange. They have cool history. They have the Peyton story and all this. So, yeah, of course, I'd enjoy that orange more than that color that I just can't stand anymore. Burnt orange.
So my take here is if Tennessee beats Georgia, and they both win out, like, is it just Tennessee versus Bama again, or like let's just say Georgia beats Tennessee? Is this the SEC East championship right now?
Well, that's what the problem is, like going forward and making predictions. The SEC is just such a pain in the ass. So, like, even you get through like Georgia, which is by far their hardest challenge, because then you have Missouri the next week. You have a tricky slope at South Carolina after that. That's not going to be very easy.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, and then you end the year at Vanderbilt. So then, yeah, you've got through the gauntlet of the regular season, and then there you go. You're going to have to face somebody in that SEC championship, whether that's Alabama, LSU at this point, possibly. So yeah, that's where things get tricky for the SEC, because they have to go through that gauntlet of a schedule every week.
But this is the SEC conundrum, right? Like, so let's just say Tennessee beats Uga falls out, Alabama trickles their way back in, or let's say they're at 6, Tennessee's at 1, somewhere in that ethos. They go to the SEC championship, Bama beats Tennessee. Do they both go to the college football playoff at that point? They have to, right? Like, if that's Tennessee's only losses to a team they already beat and they were number 1.
I could see 2 teams going, and they talked about this exact thing on game day. It's better to lose early than it is to lose late.
Exactly.
Because then what? It's SEC team. It's the winner of the OSU Michigan game. It's Clemson. And then, yeah, it's going to be that Bama or Georgia or that second SEC team.
3 of them.
No, I don't think so. Shit can go crazy, though. Tennessee can lose to Georgia. Alabama can lose to LSU, which would basically eliminate them because that would be their second loss. Georgia has some tricky games. Mississippi State, which isn't an easy one at all. Kentucky, who look like shit against Tennessee, but still have to go to Kentucky. So I don't know. My predictions going forward is it's still too hard to see. I think it will be 2 SEC teams, one of the loser of the OSU Michigan game, and then Clemson probably.
I don't know. I just want to figure out how Clemson doesn't make it. That would be ideal.
So Clemson not making it. I don't know.
I'm just saying that's what I want to see.
Let's take a look at Clemson's schedule there, buddy. Good thing I have my handy dandy producing notebook pulled out right now. They have Notre Dame this week, Louisville next week, Miami, and then once again the rivalry game, South Carolina. If they're not a good Clemson team, they probably lose one of those games and it all works out. If not, they make the playoffs. Let's be specific and make some game predictions. I want to save this one for the 3rd. Let's go Bama LSU first. Who wins that game?
Bama.
So I wasn't surprised with like the top 5 to 6 with the college football rankings. It was the later ones that were kind of like LSU's ranked 10 with 2 losses. Texas was in there at like 23. I just wanted to say that one to see your look, and that said it all. Predictions, you're going Bama?
Yep.
I am too. I think they've worked some things out at LSU, but I still don't think that they're rocking and rolling and beat Bama rocking and rolling. UT versus K-State. These are the ranked games this weekend, by the way. That's why these were selected.
K-State.
Strictly
out of hate.
Strictly out of hate.
They're also pretty good. I mean, like they are hitting
the shit out of Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they are
really good.
Firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, maybe hitting his stride over there. And to make things worse, they are actually playing in Kansas State. So in Kansas. I'll go K-State also, just because of the joy I get from seeing UT lose also. And then this was just for nostalgia. You hate that this game isn't more relevant. You hate what it's kind of been the last couple of years. The Miami-Florida State game. Wide right, Santana Moss. This was the game growing up. This was up there with Ohio State and Michigan for me. This is up there with Alabama, Auburn. So it's just sad that it's not the same. And like I said,
it's played on a weird weekend too. Aren't they playing a rivalry weekend? I don't like this. I don't like the scheduling.
Florida State's like one of those schools that has like they play Clemson, which has become kind of a rivalry, and then they end the year with the Florida game, which once again there was a time where that was a much more relevant. But for shits and giggles, Miami versus Florida State, who you got?
I'm going to say Miami on this for one reason is because they did an interview with Miami's quarterback. Like, I don't know, it was right after the A&M game. And he talked about how he enjoys and the team enjoys playing on the road so much more because it feels like a real college environment, which Tallahassee definitely is. So I think they're a little more inspired. You got a crowd behind them. I mean, you've got a pretty diverse state as far as fandom. I'm sure it's going to be heavy Crimson there, Crimson Gold. But at the same time, like, you know, at least they'll have something to play for, some excitement there. And I just don't think Florida State's back.
Yeah, Florida State looked like they were getting things back, and then they went like on a 3-game losing streak. I don't
want to talk about that.
I think. Wait, how did Florida State have anything to do with Texas A&M?
3-game losing streak. # triggered. # fuck you.
Oh, got it. Okay. Miami's things are coming out of there. Like Cristobal doesn't have the players' trust, which I understand because some of them weren't his dudes. So it really is jobs to lose and game there. So I'm going to go Florida State, which if you had asked me in the early 2000s, it would have been Miami all day for the U.
And Dorsey. Yeah, buddy.
And Dorsey, Santana, Moss, Sean Taylor. Oh, let's head over to the pros. We'll go through this before we get into our fourth ram.
We didn't do Tennessee, Georgia.
Dates. You're right, my friend. Let me take a drink of this Hershey real quick.
I just saw Miles Teller's at the game right now, decked out in Philly stuff head to toe.
He's a Phillies guy. It is the top of the A2 out, still 5-0. Tennessee, Georgia.
I don't know, man. Like, I want to say Tennessee in this one, but I feel like it's going to be Georgia. If Tennessee can pull it out, though, I feel like they need like an auto bid, like directly to the champion or to the playoff. Like, I feel like if they went out, even if they win the SEC champion, even if they lose the SEC championship, they deserve to get in.
Like I said, the flags got them over the hump at Alabama. And one of the main reasons for that was that Neyland crowd and the shit it was doing to Alabama. They don't have the conveniency of that this time. They have to go to Georgia, which is a whole other monster. For that reason, I'm going Georgia. I think it'll still be a good game. But yeah, I think Georgia pulls it out.
Which dog is cooler? Uga or the old Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey Robinson dog?
Oh, that is a good question. I'm going to go Uga.
Why? Is it because you can relate to all of his like nasal congestion issues?
Yes, he's a spirit animal, just chilling, ugly mug, just sit there, don't want to do anything. I'm very top heavy, little legs. Smokey looks like the kind of dog that if he got with other dogs, they'd want to relax and he'd be like, no, let's go hunt. Let's go do things. Kind of like when I hang out with you.
Well, hold on. I was going to think that sounds like when we hang out with Keith, but okay.
Like, yeah, oh, yeah, true. But like, I'm like, I'd be like, I just want to sit here and look at my balls while I don't want to go look for whatever it is we're hunting right now. I'd rather go get a steak at Texas Roadhouse. Anyway, so yeah, that answered my question. What do you going with a great experience? You going with Smokey or Uga?
Dude, I'm a sucker for Bulldogs, so yeah, Uga all day.
All right, let's get into the pros. We've got the only remaining undefeated team playing my poor Texans tomorrow on Thursday Night Football for Prime Video. They're wearing the battle red. And the cover the blood jokes couldn't be in more abundance. We are hurting as a franchise. Things are looking rough.
I don't know, man. Keep losing. You get yourself a choice, CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Like, who do you want?
It has turned into that. But are the Eagles that good? Like, assuming they come into Texas tomorrow and take care of business, which I hope they don't. I'm going to have this Stingley jersey on. I'll be cooking. I'll be drinking. I'll be watching. I'll be drinking. I'll be drinking. Beyonce from Houston. See how I did that right there?
Yep.
Anyway, are the Eagles that good?
I don't. Okay, so you're asking, are they good? They find a way to win games. They have a okay enough passing game, but their rushing attack, which really isn't led by anybody amazing, is really good. Their defense is stout. They're just well-rounded, right? They're like a boxer that throws really, really can take a lot of body blows, has some good, hits, but what?
Like Rocky.
Yes, that's it.
That what
they
you were
are.
doing
They
there?
are like Rocky. That's exactly where I was going. But they're not going to hit you with a haymaker. Multiple 50-yard passes over the top. They're just going to pound you down, beat you down throughout the rounds, and at the end just go, Adrian. Should I cut that part out?
No, it just sounded like somebody who's complaining about their food more than they were like trying to cheer for their wife.
And at the end, they're just going to be screaming and yelling for Adrian. So, yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. It was totally intentional.
I think they have the ability to go over the top with those receivers, Brown, Smith. I think Hurts can throw the ball, I think they're just doing that thing that works best. Like whatever they're doing is working just fine.
Why air raid it out when you have a solid running game? Like, why? It's just risky. I used to have a middle school football coach says 3 things can happen when you throw the ball: incompletion, interception, or a completion. And 2 out of 3 of those things are bad, which I know is not the NFL way.
Didn't your junior high go like 3 years without winning the game?
No, fuck you. That was not. No, that was.
So that was the group before you.
That was the class that came in and was part of your class. My class was good. Thank you.
Okay.
Junior high football.
Just checking. Let's not get
it right.
Let's not talk football here. Fuck it. Let's talk football. That's all I have. Anyway. I think they're good, but then it goes back to the same thing I bring up. Are they good enough to consistently beat good teams in the playoffs? For them, at this point, they keep doing what they're doing. They're going to have that first week off. So then you're only talking about getting through 2 teams. I'm still on the fence with them.
I just don't know who in the NFC is going to beat them.
Well, that is a good point, because right now it's weird. Even the Vikings, to my surprise, they've only had 1 loss.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Maybe the Eagles are that team, and we will see. I'm sure our Cowboy fans who follow us religiously would love to hear that.
Because whoever it is, let's just say they keep winning, they're gonna the first time they're gonna play a good team is in the Super Bowl. Like, it's either gonna be the Bills or the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, you're not off by much there. In fact, I was looking at when we come to our predictions for the NFL this week. There's not ones that really stand out because everybody's record is like 500 or.
Well, wait, wasn't there a game last week and it was the battle for being number 1 in NFC South, and it was between like the 3 and 4. It was a 3 and 4 Panthers and like the 2 and 5 Falcons. Like, that's just indicative of the entire NFC. Now, NFC North or East, I'm sorry, people disagree with because they're the best, the best record. But who the fuck are they playing? And I don't know.
Good point, but I want to talk about that game. That is a good point. That was the game where DJ Moore catches the Hail Mary to tie the game. DJ Moore. PJ threw it.
That's what I'm saying, from PJ. Yeah.
Yes. And he throws his helmet off. Gets flagged. He had done the same thing when he dropped the pass on 4th down, like the series before, no flag. I don't know the rule anymore because it's changed over the years. I'll always remember the famous one, like the first one. It was the Browns player. I forgot his name. Early 2000s, he like sacks the quarterback to end the game, chunks his helmet, gets a flag.
Was it
Chiefs
Courtney
scoot
Brown?
up, kicking. No, Courtney Brown, I think, was the flag one where they threw the flag and it landed in his eye. Was that Courtney
Oh
Brown?
yeah, yeah. No, that sounds right.
No, this wasn't Courtney Brown. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, that rule has changed because then you see people take their helmet off, no flag. And I don't know. I saw a link where it said that it was the wrong call. Didn't care
It's
enough to read it
petty.
because,
Like
as you said, it was Panthers and Falcons.
it's petty
But
either way. Like even if it is the right call, you should not be throwing flags like that. They can alter the outcome of the game.
I don't know, man. If rules are rules. But
Yeah.
my thing is, he did it once, no flag.
No, that's it.
So
He set a precedent that it was okay.
anyway, I know that rule has changed over the years. At least I think. So I don't even know what it is exactly. It's a rough year for sophomore quarterbacks. I'll just go through the ones that I'm thinking of, and I think I'm hitting most of them. Trevor Lawrence still hasn't shown us anything to prove that he's going to be the guy he was in college in the pros. Zach Wilson, they're saying, has been playing the worst football out of all the quarterbacks since he returned from injury.
He also hasn't played anybody.
Justin Fields plays in Chicago, and leave that at that. Trey Lance broke his ankle. We don't know what he will be still. And then Davis Mills is just not doing the things that I hope he would do in Houston.
You're spitting facts, good sir. What's your question?
Is there anybody out of that group that turns it around and becomes a dude?
Maybe Trevor Lawrence, just because he has so many players around him, but that might be more indicative of his inability to do it in the long run. I mean, it's if he can't do it with that group, who can he do it with, right? I'd say they give him another year and they start looking. Trey Lance, I mean, the book's out, man. Like you really don't know. Like you have not seen much to actually build. Well, hell, you didn't have enough, in my opinion, to draft him as high as they did. It was a long shot. Now he's broken his ankle, was out for another year. Didn't play much last year. He's your wild card. He could be the next Joe Montana, or he could be, Ryan Leaf. I don't know. Who knows? If you ask me, push me, like if I was going to bet on any of them based off what I'd see, I'd probably say Justin Fields. Just because I think he has the most upside from what we've seen. We've seen him ball out. Like even last week wasn't great. He was good. He did so well last week that I've actually picked him up off the waiver wires of fantasy to be my starting quarterback this week. So,
Ooh, that's a lot.
It's a gamble.
No, like we've had this talk. It's like recently there hasn't been that quarterback that took a while to show us something and then did something. Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Burrow, all those guys have had the starts that you're like, oh yeah, they're going to be all right.
But so we're looking at those guys as the rule, not the exception. When we should be looking at them as the exception.
But the exception is becoming the rule. We've had this exact conversation.
I know.
Who's the quarterback that you've waited a little while and they've become,
Aaron Rodgers.
But even still, Aaron Rodgers had to didn't get a shot at all. And then when he did, became Aaron Rodgers, led them to the playoffs, I believe.
But is that indicative of the players or more indicative of our inability to be patient and let someone develop?
There's nothing to be patient about if that there's not. That's not turning into anything.
Right, because they're not being developed.
Well, okay, so I see what you're saying now. In the NFL, there is no patience, though. So, but like I said, what's the patience? What are you going to wait? 3 years, 4 years?
I mean, Derek Carr took a little while.
No, not really. He did really well and got that massive contract early in his career.
You asked me to hunt. I'm hunting.
Well, there's nothing to hunt for. I'm laying it out for you. I don't know. I will answer the original question. Trevor Lawrence, he's just not giving me anything.
There's
Trey
flashes,
Lance,
but he makes such bad decisions.
yes, and that usually means you get fired. Trey Lance, I think just because of the injury and what he can come back and start fresh, has the most upside. I want Fields to work out, but I just don't think it's going to in Chicago. For some reason, that offense
Chicago.
Yeah. So I'll go Trey Lance to answer the original question. I think he can still pull it out. Mills, sorry, buddy. Unless you have the greatest second half, you're just you had to be great to avoid the luxury of quarterbacks that are coming out next year.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Other rookies on the team doing good, being solid. In fact, they had the most rookie start in franchise history this past week.
I thought you guys were going to lose Brandon Cooks, man. I thought for sure he was gone.
I think Brandon Cooks thought he was gone. And
he was like, "Oh, you gonna play with Rodgers? Hell yeah!"
Oh, apparently he was going to go to Dallas.
Oh, well, see, I heard OBJ was going to go to Dallas.
I hear OBJ is going to go to 32. Yeah, 32 teams. Let's do some quick game predictions.
Hold on, because OBJ is a free agent. Anybody can still sign him, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, this was several weeks ago, I think, maybe even before our last recording, it was something like the Rams know where I want to go, but they're not doing it. And then McVay said something like, we haven't offered him our final offer. Anyway, quick predictions before we start talking about some beer. Bills versus Jets.
Bills.
Like I said, this was hard this week because there's really not a big game that stands out. Rams and Bucks, two teams that, well, we knew they weren't going to be good this year, but
Bucks.
I think Brady has to have a good week. I think this is that week.
Well, he better have a good week because he got nothing else to live for.
Oh, too soon. Did you see the memes? The worst one that got my heart was the guy dressed as a football, and it said Brady's kids on Halloween so he would spend time with them. Oh, that was a heartbreaker. Too soon. Titans versus Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs all day. Titans are the best. They're a piece of glitter on a pile of shit there in that AFC South. And then kind of a good game. I think the Ravens got things going. The Saints Ravens. Can. Okay, yeah, Ravens. Okay, me too. Right. All right. Let's go into the palate of this aged, dark, robust Yuengling Hershey's chocolate beer.
Surprisingly, chocolate. Like bitter chocolate. A little bit of sweetness. But like you and I talked about, it's the metallic, man. And I think that's
Hershey's chocolate, Yuengling's beer in a metal old milk can from the 1950s, because that's what I'm tasting.
I kind of dig it.
So yes, this was the one that you said, how is it? Like you were asking me how my new Hot Wheels was on Christmas. And I said, it's good, but it's got a metallic taste to it. And I don't know if that's a shipping thing. I don't know if they're making the Hershey's one over here. And oh yeah, it says Fort Worth. Yeah. Is that the Declaration of Independence on the back of the label, like Nicolas Cage? That's the thing. There's just that hint. Now, I asked you, does it bother you enough?
No, I like it. It kind of grows on me.
I don't like it. I could do without the metallic taste, but it doesn't kill the beer for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've definitely, you start messing with those craft beers where who knows where they're getting their cans from. Maybe some are made a little bit, less quality than others, and they'll have that taste. Definitely have had worse metal taste. But yeah, it's definitely noticeable. Doesn't kill it for me. I'm giving the taste an A. I really do enjoy this beer.
Yeah, I'll go 8 with you.
All right, ready to get into that fourth round. Varieties have changed, so let's talk beer.
Yes, let's do that.
When it comes to beer, obviously, with your little subscription to the what's it called?
Tavor.
Javor. You still do that, right?
Not as much as I was because I realized I was spending about $250 to $300 a month on beer.
So, with that said, your knowledge of beer is quite vast compared to mine. I have recently started, not recently, I'd say the year and a half. I've been getting into the local beers. I'll try whatever I see here, Houston made. Outside of those boundaries, not as much. I'm still a Yuengling Coors Light kind of guy. I will occasionally get a Sam Adams at a bar. That's a go-to when I go to a restaurant, just because I think it pairs well with most foods: steak, fish, hamburger, Sam Adams. But let's go.
My cousin always recommends Sam Adams too. So
your cousin from Boston?
From Boston, yes.
Love those commercials. Let's go through this. Let's go through the list. You've put up some because, like I said, you're the one that knows quite a bit more than me. IPAs, hazy versus Indian Pale Ale. I have
India Pale Ale.
Sorry, India Pale Ale.
Yeah, there's a few other ones. There's New England Pale Ales, like New England IPAs. I think the question here is like, do you like
what do you prefer?
Well, do you like a hazy, which is typically more citrusy, or do you like more like a hoppy IPA, which is typically more of a clear? I would say like it's not a Pilsner color, but it's more orangey clear, if you will.
So we went on that brewery tour,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked what our favorite beer was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I am very into the juicy, hazy IPAs in the moment.
It was a real thick. Yeah.
Thick, look interesting in a glass, cool color.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'll say right now, Indian Pale Ale, I think of Dogfish right away because I think that was like one of the first ones that I saw that on a beer and thought interesting. Yeah. And I did try it, but it has been a while. So I'm going to go hazy for that.
Hazies are like, they can be like really full body and they're really hit or miss for me. What I noticed, like when I was doing the subscription, I still have some, is when you pour like a hazy, like straight out of, you talk about the cans, they're actually all typically from like the same manufacturer. They're like solid aluminum. So they hold flavor really well. You typically don't get a lot of like metallic-y taste in them. But with hazies, when you pour them, and I want you to watch out for this next time, like pour a hazy into a snifter or like a glass. And then at the very bottom, the way the snifter is shaped, think of it like a bowl, right? Kind of like a miniature fish bowl. Like you drink big old margs out of. The way it's shaped, it's more like a miniature fishbowl, like what you drink a big old marg out of. There's this like sediment that gets down at the very bottom, and it like cakes together like almost chalk, which is very interesting. And it's just like one of those things with hazy IPAs you get. There's always sediment in a lot of those beers. And then from like an India Pale Ale or like a traditional IPA, maybe like an East Coast or whatever it's called, I tend to prefer those. Like the hazies are okay, but I like the like citrusy kind of light bodiness of an IPA. The fun thing about it is it just smacks you in the dick when you're not expecting it. That ABV is always super high up there, and you can get some crazy ABVs with some of these, like 12, 14%, which you typically don't get until you get into like the super stouts. So yeah, I'll summarize this and quit talking by saying this. Some of my favorite IPAs are actually from Karbach in Houston. Their Hopadillo is really good, and then their Rodeo Clown Double IPA, which is more like an amber color and like what you think of a traditional lager. It's like 9.4%. The thing is amazing.
So I was going to ask you that because there's the double. Yeah. So there is like a double haze.
There's double hazy IPAs.
So yeah, Spindletop specifically is the juicy IPA that I've been loving. Houston Haze, and then they have Houston Hazier, which is like a 9%. Love it. Love the way that one looks in a clear glass. Looks really cool. Like I've said, in the Houston area, go check them out. So
I will say
between a
this.
hazy and an India pale ale, what are you going?
I'm gonna go with like East Coast India. Like they're kind of very similar in my opinion. Um, this is a thing about IPAs that I'm going to warn you about. And for those listeners, like, oh, it's a lighter color, it can't be that bad for you. They are some of the highest calorie beers that you'll ever encounter in your life. Like you think the darker beers, like the stouts, the porters are bad. Mm-mm. The most calories I've ever had from a beer is that Carbach Rodeo Clown, and I was killing like a 6-pack of those in a weekend. And I looked it up; they're like 350 calories a beer for the cans. Like not
Well,
even the
and like those taste like you're chewing on the hops. So like I'm assuming it has a lot to do with because like it's straight up hops.
Well, yeah, I mean the sugar, everything else in there. Yeah, it's fun, but they're good. They're good.
I did not like IPAs. I gave like the Sam Adams IPA the start, like my first try at an IPA. Hopadillo was the like one of the ones that I had eventually. Is Lawnmower from St. Arnold's an IPA?
I don't know that one. I will tell you, like IPAs, I feel like there's a certain like broiness that has to happen when you start saying, I drink IPAs all the time. Everybody assumes that you're a hipster.
They're the whiskey bourbon guys that
they are. You know, and I would argue though, like stouts, which is our next topic, and I'm just kind of grouping stouts together, right? So porters, you know, Doppelbocks or strong box, if you will, which I think are actually lagers, or imperial stouts, that sort of thing. Anything that like looks like motor oil, like tonight this is a porter. What are your thoughts there? Do you enjoy a good dark beer, good porter, good stout?
Oh, I love them. Just a Lawnmower is a Kolsch. Red, an Irish red stout. Am I saying that correctly? No, Irish reds are ales.
Yeah, that sounds
right.
Okay,
so yeah, so you erase that. Stouts, I do love. I had several of them with you because you're always shoving like a Russian stout in my face. Not a lot of them have been my favorite, but stouts have certainly grown on me. You know, those are going to be like what, your New England kind of beer sometimes?
No, like typically like porters come from England, right? So those are what came over. I mean, most porters are based in England. Guinness is a porter. A lot of like the Northeast kind of like traditional beers are porters as well. Stouts, from my experience, are really all over the place. Now, the thing about stouts is you typically find them really well done in cold environments. And I don't think it has anything to do with the weather. It's just like the people that live there tend to like darker beer. So you get more stouts. And then stouts come out in the winter too. So like you're typically going to get a better beer selection from like a stout perspective in the winter as well.
Okay. So Google is your best friend. I type in, I'm thinking of these beers. I'm trying to remember them. You type in stout and they all pop up. Guinness is a stout. I love Guinness. So of course, but there was a phase where I was trying to get more bang for my buck because they are more expensive, but you get like only 4 of them. So like Dragon's Milk and Nitro, like those are stouts that I've had that, yeah, I could have about 3 or 4 of them. You're not going to be in for the long run when it comes to stouts. But yeah, after, if you want a hefty meal, you want to enjoy and you want to get a good little buzz real quick, I can stomach a stout and I do enjoy them.
Here's the thing about stouts though, like not all of them, like Guinness is a dry stout. You corrected me, that was right. It's only 4.2% though. Like it's not even that heavy. Now, some of the stouts, they can get like the 10, 12 percenters. Like those are like the real craft beer stuff. There's a place in Anchorage, Alaska called Anchorage Brewing. It's really an original name. They like Tavor, they do like these specialized like stouts, imperial stouts, porters, and that sort of thing. But they sell them like these big ass, almost wine bottles, and they're like wax dipped, like a Maker's Mark bottle. And these things are like 15%, but like one beer itself is like $35, like to bring it down from Alaska. So I've gotten a few of those. They're usually really good, but they do very craft stuff. It's not like a mass produced stuff you're going to find at an HEB. So my favorite ones in this, because I'm a stout guy, I love Guinness on tap every day, all day. If I'm in a pinch, I'll buy it and drink it in a bottle, but it's never the same. Guinness on tap is better than anything I've ever had in my life when it's poured right. But my go-to, if like I want like a good stout, I go with a Russian Imperial Stout from North Coast called Old Rasputin. And I think I've said it on this show before, and it only comes in a 4-pack, and they're each like 11.4%. And they're just the bee's knees, man. Like, they're the tits. It's my favorite.
I had a Cougar one. It's a Cougar, and it has like Ricky Bobby. I sent it to you. The Cougar from the car logo. Strong, good. I would have a stout strong like in place of a dessert. So I do enjoy it. It is not my favorite. I won't do them all the time, but I do enjoy them. And then we got our classics. We got our American lager,
your pilsners, your ales. Yeah. Like,
so I've told you this before. My favorite beer, if I see it at a brewery, if I see it at a restaurant, I'm going to try them. I'm going to get one just because it goes right on with me and everything Irish. I love a good Irish red ale. I remember having a good one at B&J's, the restaurant where they do the food and the brewery.
Yeah, they have a good one there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones that I had.
They also have a Tatanka Stout, which is pretty good as well.
I have not had that. I've had Killian's. That's another Irish beer that I will change up on. I think it's the Jeremiah Red at BJ's
Brewhouse.
It's good. But yeah, Irish Red, I'll change that up. Killian's instead of doing Guinness, especially like on St. Patty's Day and things like that. So yeah, lagers, ales. What's your input on that?
I don't know. Like, it's all lighter beer typically. Well, I guess lagers are darker. I mean, Shiner Bock for a long time was like my go-to. As far as like, I don't know. I'm just gonna say American lagers. I'm probably fucking this up. So some beer connoisseurs listening is like, these guys don't know shit. But that being said, it's to me, beer is
I can out drink your ass, motherfucker.
Beer is a lot more complicated, and there's so many more variations because it's so much easier to make, right? You can literally make beer in your garage with like a $300 kit. So that being said, I do enjoy like a good Shiner Bock, but if I'm going to go anywhere else, I'm probably going to go with like there's like a Coors, man. I mean, if I'm not drinking something super crafty or I'm not drinking Guinness or like a good stout, I'm drinking a Coors. And with that being said, the Astros have evened the series out at 2-2. So we have a brand new 3-game series, man. This is an exciting time in the neighborhood.
And they did it by throwing a combined no-hitter. I just realized that. So, yeah. Yeah. Astros throw a no-hitter.
Doesn't matter. Altuve is never going to the hall. So,
well, fuck you. Buy a mattress. Motherfucker.
So I think
Christian Javier went in, showed out, started pitcher, did his thing, won the game.
So I think I've given you already my favorite beers, but what is your favorite beer?
Beers like whiskey, man. Actually, I think whiskey. Beer's more specific. It depends on is it after dinner?
No,
it while
you're making
I'm
it too
cooking?
Complicated. If you go to a bar and they got every beer on tap and they know how to pour every beer, this is where I get very specific about my favorite beer on tap is Guinness on tap, period. From a bottle, it's a whole other conversation.
That's even my heart. When you say at a bar on tap, my heart wants to say Sam Adams. But if you tell me sitting at home on the couch watching a game, Coors Light's going to jump out of my mouth. Our Yuengling now.
There's your answer. That's what I was looking for. It's situational. It's not for dinner, blah, blah, blah. It's like if you go and I say you can have any beer on tap, you're going to get a Sam Adams. But if you're,
I usually do. I love Sam Adams.
but if you want a long
it
neck,
started off as a joke and a cliche, like ha ha ha, the accent in the commercials. I love a good Sam Adams at a restaurant. Like I said, with a burger, with a steak, with a nice salmon or something. As you could hear my accent changing, I do love Sam Adams, and I even like their seasonals. Like I will get if they have the winter, if they have the fall, if they have the summer, I'm gonna get it. So Sam Adams is up there, but every day it's Yuengling and Coors Light, which I know people are going to be like, oh, sink water. Well, fuck you. Sink water's been good to me for several years, and I thoroughly enjoy them. And I can have 16 of them and still feel fantastic.
On that note, you made me think of something I threw on the other day. My wife and I were looking for something for 20 minutes we could watch before we went to bed, and threw it on the Chappelle Show. I'm Samuel Jackson.
Not going to lie, that had a little bit to do with me wanting to try Sam Adams. So wait, did you answer the question? Your favorite go-to no matter what?
Guinness? Yeah, my favorite go-to, Guinness, man. Like even over my shoulder right here, I have this Guinness poster. But if it's at home sitting a long neck, yeah, I'll take a Coors Light or like a Miller Light.
But see, even as I'm saying, you put Coors Light, you put Yuengling, there's probably one more beer that if you put in front of them, I'm going to grab it. The banquet beer.
That's different.
The Yellow Belly, the one that when it opens your voice sounds like Sam Elliott. I mean, I love me some Yellow Bellies.
At the Buckhorn Saloon.
We had Yellow Bellies, and it was fantastic.
It was.
So, yeah, I mean, it's really situational, but Coors, I think you can have at a restaurant. You could have at a bar. You could have at your house. You could have at a diaper party. You could have at a wedding.
Throw in the diaper party there. Yeah. Nice.
And it's funny. Every time you send that picture of a Yellow Belly, somebody goes, Yellow Bellies. Nice. So, yeah, that was the exact beer conversation that I wanted to have. Good stuff. Right. You want to give the overall rating?
Say it one more time.
You ready to give the rating on this Yuengling's Hershey's chocolate porter?
Hey, let's do it. I'm going to give it an A.
I'm going to give it an A also. I think it was worth our wait. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've already gone back, bought a second pack. The metal taste was not a killer at all. It is heavy. Once again, I do not recommend drinking it after downing a huge slice of tiramisu, but get you some.
Yeah, this is definitely not what you want to drink right before a run. So, yeah, drink this after, for sure.
And the people that we have talked to, our buddy over there in Florida, who's had it several times and we were very envious of, he loves it. I have not ran into anybody that did not like it. So, all right, buddy, let's get over that goal line. We talked beer. We talked headlines like, I don't know, Mattress Mac fighting people in Philadelphia. We talked professional football, and we talked college football, specifically the playoff rankings that were just released. Dick, hit him with the socials before we get out this bitch.
All right, Drammers. So make sure you're following us on all of your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, if we're still on that in a couple months. I don't know. And then also make sure you're subscribing to us on all of your favorite podcast streaming apps, including Audible, Castbox, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. We're always there on YouTube as well. Hit that subscribe button, get notifications whenever we post a new episode. But the best way for us to continue to grow our show is for you to tell your friends about us. We want to grow that audience. Send us an email, fourthramandgoal@gmail.com, or follow us or visit us at fourthramandgoal.com. That's 4thramandgoal.com, where you can figure out how to get in contact with us or view our content any time of the day. That being said, Kurt, let's go ahead and hit him with that quote of the episode.
Yes, sir. I went ahead and threw a little tribute to Pittsburgh and Philadelphia's own, since we were enjoying some Yuengling today. The great Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion, multiple NFL champion, Johnny Unitas. He said there's a difference between being conceit and confidence. Conceit is bragging about yourself. Confidence means you believe you can get the job done. So don't just be conceit. Be confident in everything you do. Go out there, get the job done. Drinking, partying, work, friends, life, live, love, enjoy. So to the next snap and the next dram.
Drink on, Drammers. Literally the only guy who could wear number 19 and get away with it.
Love it.